Hi, I'm Mark, and in this video we're going to look at 10 licks for acoustic blues guitar. So the way the video is going to work is you're going to see me play an example solo using all 10 licks, and then I'll pull it apart and show the licks one by one. I also talk about some of the techniques and the ideas and how different ways that you'd approach playing a blues guitar solo. So here's the example. So there you just heard me play an example solo, and that's fairly typical of what I would do at my band. You see, there's kind of two ways you can approach acoustic blues guitar. There's completely unaccompanied, where you play literally just on your own, and you're keeping the rhythm going using your thumb, and you're playing some kind of melody line with your fingers. I did a whole other video about that a while ago, so if you're interested in that style, go and check out my other video. But this lesson's not really talking about that. It's talking about when you're playing with other people. So in my own band, we have a bass player, upright acoustic double bass. We have a harmonica player, and the singer also plays rhythm guitar as well. So when I kick in to play in a solo, I'm actually playing with all that accompaniment going on behind. And that's kind of what I've tried to do with the backing track here as well. So when I'm soloing, I don't need to worry about keeping the rhythm going and keeping the bass line going and those things, because the rest of the band's already taken that on board. So I can just focus on playing lead lines. So that's what this example is really about. So a couple of things that you're going to see in the licks before I show you them one by one. The first thing is that the difference when you're playing on an acoustic blues rather than electric is you don't really have the ability to hold notes for very long. The notes will naturally just die out very quickly on an acoustic guitar compared to electric guitar, where you've kind of got some sustain and gain going and things. So because of that, what you'll find is the licks tend to be faster, or there's more notes, more repetitive licks, very rhythmic playing. That's kind of one approach that I do. Also, bending is different, because normally on an electric guitar I would bend and hold a note and kind of vibrato it. You don't really get that option with an acoustic guitar. So although there is bending, it's very different. It's kind of, instead of bending into a note to hold it, it's kind of hitting a note and then bending away from it. So you'll see that occasionally. Also, you don't have the power, the real drive and everything with the sound of the acoustic guitar. So to kind of make up for the fact that essentially the notes sound thinner, what I'll often do is I'll use double stops as well. And double stops are essentially just playing two strings at the same time. So you're going to see that in quite a few licks as well. It's just to try and thicken out the sound and give it a bit more oomph when I'm playing. That's probably about it really. Other than that, I'm pretty much playing it like I would use an electric guitar. So actually all these licks work really well on electric guitar as well. It's just that they are particularly well suited to acoustic guitar. Anyway, with all of that, let's get into the licks. So lick one goes like this. Okay, so this is the lick that we played over the first 4 bars of E. The backing track is a straight 12 bar blues in E, and so this is a lick that you play over those first 4 bars of E. I should say on the example, what you'd have seen me do is come in from the B7 and the A7 on the previous 12 bar, and then I think I played like a little turn around before we get into the solo. And that's because I was thinking of the way I play with my band, and so I'm imagining the singer's already singing over that part, and I'm coming out of the vocal part, and now I'm going into the solo. So coming out of it from a little turnaround there. Oh, and if you're interested in that little turnaround, that's just walking the E7 chord down and then hit the B7. So then, as I say, we're into lick 1 proper. So lick 1, it starts with this repeating phrase. You do that 4 times, and that's kind of like the call, and then the response is. Okay, so all I'm doing here is very repetitively using open strings and 3rd fret on the both, and I'm just playing E string and B string. So nice and slow, the first 2 bars of that lick go like this. Okay, now the next 2 bars then go like this. Okay, so the first part is another repeating lick. Okay, you can have a look at I'll put tab on screen so you can see exactly what notes I'm playing. And then I'm using this shape here where I'm playing 2 strings at once, so that's that kind of double stop idea. So I'm sliding into the 4th on the G string and then hitting the B string at the 3rd fret underneath it. And then sliding back down to the 2nd on the G string off, and then hitting D string at the 2nd fret. Okay, so that's lick 1, nice and slow. And now up to speed. Okay, and lick 2 now is going to play over the A chord of the 12-bar blues. So the way I would approach that is I jump right up to where we'd have an A7 chord here at the 5th fret. So it's that E7 shape barred all the way up. And what I'm doing is I'm visualizing that chord, but I'm only actually playing the top 3 strings. So I'm playing the G string and then the E and B string together twice, and then the G string and then the E and B string. So like this. And then do the same thing again. And that's the whole lick. And that's just kind of outlining, as I say, that A7 chord. So up to speed, it would be this kind of speed. Okay, nice and slow. So that was lick 2. Lick 3 now goes like this. Okay, so we're repeating that same idea from lick 1, where we're bending up 3rd fret on the B string and then hitting the top E. And we're doing that 3 times. And then what we're doing is pulling off from the... actually, I'm not pulling off, I'm bending it slightly sharp and then hitting the open string 3rd fret top E. And then what I'm doing is I'm playing the 5th fret of the B string coming down to the 3rd fret of the B string. Okay, so that's lick 3. That's over the E chords. That's going to then lead us into the B7. So the B7, I'm going to do exactly what I did over the A chord before. I'm going to visualize that B7 chord. So it's that E7 shape all the way up at the 7th fret. And I'm going to play G string and then the E and B together and kind of alternate between them. You'll notice I'm sliding in on that first beat, the first beat of each bar. Okay, and then what I'm doing is I do the same thing over the A chord. So I think it actually goes like. Okay, so that's the whole lick. So nice and slow, lick 4. And that's just to outline those B and A chords. So then we get into lick 5, and this is the turnaround at the end of the first time through the 12 bar. This is kind of very Stevie Ray influenced. I think I actually stole it from Love Struck Baby, or certainly got the idea from there. It might not be exactly what he plays, but it's kind of the same idea. And it goes like this. Okay, nice and slow. Okay, so I'm starting by using this double stop, fret 4 of the G string, fret 3 of the B string, and I'm basically hitting that, I think it's like 6 times. And then sliding down to the 2nd on the G string, and then open on the G string, and then twice on the D string. And then it's fret 2 on the D string again to make this final little run up to the B note here, which is the 2nd of the on the A string. And that's because the underlying chord, what we've done is we've gone to an E chord, and now we're coming round to a B7, so we want to land on that B note. So we play in 2 on the D string, and then open on the A, 1 on the A, 2 on the A. Okay, so that's half of the solo. What you'll notice is when I play it and perform it, it's in the example, there might be occasional odd other notes, kind of passing notes or percussive notes that I hit, occasional odd other strings ring out. Now when you're playing a performance, I don't think of the notes and the licks as being exact or as precise as this. You're kind of just feeling that rhythm and playing them. So my right hand is kind of keeping very, very rhythmic, and because of that, if there's any additional notes that you see, or any percussive strikes or anything you see in the example, that's just because that's what my hand was doing at the time. They're not deliberate, they're just part of the performance. And if you're feeling the lyrics, you're feeling the beat, and you're feeling the rhythm and everything, and you're in it, you will just kind of hit those occasional open strings, or dead strings or something, and that's just part of the style. That's just how you play. So halfway through, that was the first 12 bars of the solo. Let's look at the next 12 bars of the solo now. This is going to be lick number 6, and we're going to come right up to the 8th fret of the B string and 7th fret of the E string, and we're playing this. So what we're doing is we're kind of, by bending that note on the 8th fret up, that's actually the minor 3rd of E, and you're kind of bending it until it becomes the, well actually not quite, but almost till it becomes the major 3rd of E, which would be the G sharp here. So we're taking the G and bending it, and then as we're just getting towards the pitch, we're hitting the note on the E string. Now that's a lick I'll use an awful lot, or an idea I'll use in an awful lot of licks. Sometimes play them together, sometimes play alternating them. So, but it's a little phrase that you can use in licks when you're playing in a particularly acoustic. It sounds great. But this particular lick, I'm basically doing that little move 4 times. Then I'm hitting, so that's 8 on the B, and then 9 twice on the G string. So that's the first half of the lick. The next half of the lick starts exactly the same way, with 4 of those little repeat phrases. Then I'm playing 8 on the G, and then taking a little walk down to imply the E7 chord. Because if you think of the E chord there, that note there is your E7, that's your 7th, it's the D note, so that's the 7th of E. So you're leading the listener's ear to say, hey, we're about to change chord. So that's kind of why that lick works as it does. So that was lick 6. I'll do the whole thing nice and slow. Okay, lick 7 is now going to be over the A chord. Similar to before, I'm going to come to that A7 shape there. And again, I'm going to start by just playing G string, slide in, and then playing twice on the E and B string together. So that's similar to lick 2. So it starts the same way, but then it changes. So here's all of lick 7. So lick 7 starts with a slide in up to imply that A7 chord. And then what we're going to do is we're going to play the 8th note on the B string and then the 5th on the top E. Like that, and that just implies that A7 chord there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually play an A chord right up here, and then pick the top E string again, and then an A7 chord. So if you imagine that D and D7 shape from down there, but moved all the way up until they become an A chord. And that's something I'll do quite a lot, is just move chords around, and the lick actually is just picking out a couple of strings from the chord. Works quite nice. So lick 7 up to speed. Okay, and then we're up to lick 8. Lick 8 takes that same idea from lick 6, starts the same way, but then just ends slightly different. So lick 8 now goes like this. So we've got the same start, bending the 8 up and then hitting the 7 on the top E. And then hitting that E note, which is the 9th on the G string. And then we're playing 7 on the G to 9 on the D, 7 on the G to 9 on the G. So, okay. So the whole lick, nice and slow, goes like this. Okay, and then we'll into lick 9. So lick 9 now jumps up and plays over the B7 chord and goes like this. So what we're doing is we're actually just playing the minor pentatonic of G, but it's called box shape number 5. Sorry, minor pentatonic of E, box shape number 5. So it's minor pentatonic played here. Okay, and we're just playing kind of the top 3 strings there. So it starts by pulling off 12 to 10 on the top E, 12 on the B string, 10 on the top E, back to 12 on the B string. And then we kind of repeat that phrase but down a string, but we're actually starting with a hammer on and pull off 10 to 12 on the B string, and then 12 on the G, back to 10 on the B string. So far the whole lick goes like this. And then what I'm doing is I'm using my little finger and I'm barring the B and the G string together at the 12th fret. I'm playing that twice. And then to 10 on the G string. So lick I use quite a lot. I really love this one. It's a great way to play a pentatonic shape that isn't just like your regular pentatonic shape. So the whole lick, nice and fast, goes like this. So lick 10 now is the final lick. I actually stole it from Gary Moore, Walking By Myself. If you saw my recent video on Gary Moore turnarounds, it's actually one of those licks. I thought it was great, so I thought I'd use it myself. And it goes like this. Okay, and we're starting with 2 hits on the bottom E string. And then we're playing 3 on the top E, pull off. And then we're playing open on the G string. Then we're playing 3 on the G, pulling off to 2 on the G, pulling off to open on the G. And then we're playing 2 on the D string to 2 on the G string. So that you have to kind of roll your finger between those notes. Back to 2 on the D string. So far we've got this. And then what we play is open on the G string, hammering on to 1, then 2 on the D string, and then fret 2 again on the A string, and we're hit that one twice. So the whole lick nice and slow. And up to speed. Okay, and that's the whole solo. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll say that this solo and this style of soloing is something I use an awful lot with my band Northbound. This is actually very similar, very similar to the first song that we play in the set. This is kind of the solo I use for that. It just uses all those rhythmic ideas and the double stops and everything. Hope you found this useful, and I'll see you again.